Hello and welcome to today's Creator Spotlight with Restream. I am Grace Duffy from Restream. And if you found your way today to today's broadcast, you either love me or you love my guest Tim, and how can you not? Or you love Restream, or you want to learn how to plan and produce your own 24-hour live stream. And today I'm joined by award-winning live stream producer and host Tim Sohn, and we are asking him all about this crazy, intense 24-hour live stream event he just recently organized for a nonprofit organization very close to his heart. Today, we're going to specifically cover how you even pull off such a crazy feat as a 24-hour live stream and why. We're going to talk to him about his biggest takeaways from this experience, particularly how to maintain a healthy stream, and then what kind of prep and show planning. And I want to know what kind of run of show you had for this. So we're going to ask all that and talk about all that. And hopefully he can help you prepare too. So if you have any questions for Tim or about a 24-hour live stream, please drop them in the comments. Or if you know someone who's working for a nonprofit and looking for a really cool interactive way to run fundraisers, tag them in the post below where you found us, and or send them a text and let them know that they can join us live and drop all their questions. So we already have a friend here. Fred says hello. Grace and Tim, hello. And of course, this is a live show, so please drop your questions in the chat. So Tim, I'm so happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Grace. And I see Inger is watching. She's one of the people that helped out with the 24-hour Open Your Hearts and Wallets event, which we're going to be talking about today. She was one of the live streamers. So thanks for being here, Inger, and everyone who's tuning in live or on the replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you are well skilled at this. So if you don't know Tim Sohn, let me introduce you. He is a 15-year cancer survivor and recipient of the Mission Award from the Northeast Pennsylvania chapter of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for this 24-hour live stream that he pulled. And when he is not running charitable live streaming events, Tim is the founder of Sohn Social Media Solutions. He is a live video strategist and producer for businesses looking to make a positive impact in the world. He is the host of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, where guests and audience members share the space, gives them a space to process their feelings around their own perspectives on cancer. And then he's also the co-host of the Tim and Jim Show. And if you haven't watched it, please do. You're in for a treat. Jim Fuse is one of my favorite people. Tim is one of my favorite people, and they talk about how to grow small businesses, including live streaming. And they are both pros in that arena. And I invited Tim here today, of course, to talk about how and why he decided to run this 24-hour live stream fundraiser, and also how you can do it too. But Tim, let's start with why. So you organized, as you mentioned, this Open Your Hearts and Wallets for Blood Cancer event, this 24-hour live stream, and you raised thousands of dollars in donations and raised cancer awareness for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And I understand this was part of this philanthropic, charitable competition. I promise when I practice this, like I said the word perfectly, but now I'm nervous. But enough from me. Please tell me, how did you get involved in this competition? And tell me all about it. And tell me about this Open Your Hearts and Wallets for Blood Cancers campaign that you're a part of.
Yes, thank you, Grace. And just imagine how many times I had to say philanthropic competition over those 24 hours. I don't even know how many times. But just a little backstory. I'm a 15 plus year survivor of chronic myeloid leukemia. In December, I found out I'm cancer free, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society provided so many resources to me and my family over the years that when I was a patient early on, especially early on, I did not have insurance at first when I was diagnosed. So they have a program called the Copay Financial Assistance Program. So that helped me greatly financially early on. And they have so many programs. They have education programs, and they do important research, and they have clinical trials, and they have such important programs for people that have blood cancers, but they also provide resources to people who have other cancers as well, which many people don't realize. So in June of 2021, I started sharing my cancer story. And after doing that, I just had a passion inside me that I just wanted to keep giving back in other ways. And so one of the ways I decided to do this was through the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Man and Woman of the Year philanthropic competition. And what the philanthropic competition is it's a 10-week campaign, a fundraising campaign. Basically, what it is it's a competition among me and other people here in the Northeast region. And the organization it's a national and global organization, but I specifically was competing among other people here in the region in Northeast Pennsylvania to raise the most money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society here in Northeast Pennsylvania. And so there are many different ways that you can raise money, but one of my strongest skills is live streaming. And many of the people who are on my volunteer team are also live streamers. So we decided to put our talents together and organize this 24-hour live stream event, which was in March 8th and 9th. And over those 24 hours, well, first of all, 24 hours of cancer awareness, but we also raised thousands of dollars over those 24 hours as well.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on being cancer free. I did not want to railroad off over that point.
Thank
That is a
you.
big deal, and your heart and your your dedication to this and your willingness to give back is super admirable. So I definitely wanted to congratulate you on those two big milestones, those two big things.
Thank you.
So what made you? So I know you're a live streaming expert. You help other businesses, entrepreneurs, nonprofits do their live streams. But what made you want to host 24 hours of a live stream?
Yeah, so I need to give a shout out to Dorothy Odell. I met Dorothy after the pandemic began. I created a course called Survive with Live Video. And Dorothy was one of the people who were in my course, and she's on my volunteer team for the philanthropic competition. We'll see how many times we can say that during the show, Grace. Maybe we'll keep track. And so Dorothy is actually the person who I said, let's do a virtual event fundraiser. And she said, let's make it 24 hours. So I said, okay, let's do it. So I said yes. And then after that, we really needed to figure out how it was all going to work. And we can talk about all the details about it. But it was really Dorothy's brainchild, the 24-hour time component. Yeah.
Don't you love those friends that just have to plus everything you do? They're like let's do video, and then they're like, let's do live video. Let's do live video for 24 hours.
I know, seriously. And I see Jenny Gold is here. Jenny Gold is actually the person, she has a live show called Podcast Not Podcast, and her show is the first place where I shared my cancer story on June 11th of 2021. So shout out to Jenny Gold.
Shout out to Jenny Gold. She says, hi, Tim. She's joining us over from LinkedIn because we are streaming to YouTube, Facebook, our Facebook group, and LinkedIn right now. And then all the places you paired. So awesome. So we had a lot of questions. I'm going to go to the question here that we have in our comments. And then I have another one that as I was sharing this on social, we got a lot of questions too coming that way. So I'm going to show this one. This is Jared L. He says, what type of equipment did you use for your 24-hour live stream?
What type of equipment? So I'm not sure if he means like software or we used a variety of different live streaming software. You could really use, we streamed, how we did it a little bit was we had different live streamers stream on their own social media platforms. And we had each live streamer use the live streaming software that they normally use. So we didn't dictate which software that they needed to use. They used whatever equipment they had. And if you have more specific questions, feel free to to put them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them for you.
So, so that's the beauty of live streaming, though, because Tim and I are both remote right now. So he's sitting in his place, I'm sitting in mine, and all you really need to go live is Restream, of course. Solid internet connection, a nice camera like we have, and then a microphone. And then if you want to be like extra fancy, those of you watching the live show or watching this as a video, because we release this as a audio only version as well. Tim has a very fancy green screen. So, he's in this rolling hills. I don't know. It looks like you're in Switzerland right now. And
this is the Delaware River.
That's Delaware. Okay.
It's the Delaware River in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay. See, you're very on brand. I was all like, it just looks, maybe I just want to travel. Maybe that's.
Yes. Come visit.
Come visit you.
Let's do a live together in person.
Yes. Rock the world. I'm not going to do it for 24 hours. Maybe like 1 hour, 45 minutes, 20 minutes of live.
Come on, let's do a 24-hour live stream together, Grace. Let's do it. Oh
my gosh.
Using Restream.
That'd be really fun and challenging.
Let's do it.
Okay. Second question that you brought that up. Good segue. You must be do this professionally.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So big question we had from our friend Stephanie Liu was like, what platforms even allow you to go live for 24 hours? Because I know there's a limit on certain ones. Yes. So how did you get around that rule? And I don't even know what it is, because I'm not in endurance anything unless it's a Netflix series. Like
yes. So I believe YouTube lets you go live for 24 hours. I believe Twitch lets you go live for 24 hours. What we did was we had individual live streamers stream on their own social media channels, and each slot was somewhere between 1 and 3 hours. So we did not have one stream going straight for 24 hours. That would make me a wreck. If there was one stream going straight for 24 hours as a producer, I would be so afraid that was going to break. But what we did do was we had a landing page, and we sent everybody to this landing page. And every time that the next slot was going to be, we would change the link on that page. And we also had the schedule on the page. So we would just update the link there, and we would send everybody there, which, because we want to make it as easy for people to find the information and to go to each of the shows. So it would be really easy if there was just one stream, but that would just give me a heart attack, because if it broke and then you had to start a new stream from scratch, I don't know.
Well, Tim, I have some good news for you. Yeah. Since you've done this, because I know you did this in March and it is now June, anyone watching this replay, but Restream actually released the ability to embed a stream onto a website. So next time you do this, you can embed the stream onto your website now. And then you don't have to keep refreshing. You just have them at the one website, and then you just change out the links when you take your break. It's pretty easy. So pro tip.
I love this, Grace.
I know. I'm here for you, Tim. I'm going to take
I didn't even know about this.
I know. Well, it's brand new. We just released
breaking news.
Yes, breaking news. So we released it about a few weeks ago, but it's still making out. So anyway, I'm going to take a little break from the topic of the show to answer this one Restream question, because I don't want to go past it. So I'm going to see if I can bring it up here. So Phil Griffins asked, how do you get your name to show up with the company name below? And Restream, I've never seen that before. Well, because this is actually, and I'll have Randy bring it up again. There you go. This is actually an overlay that our designer built for us with all the show branding. Now we do have the ability to put your names on there, but like we have the little cool thing on the side, and this works with the background. So we have videos on our YouTube channel. We had a series about how to do these graphics, and so I saved your comment, Phil, and I will go back and send you a link after the show is done. But anyway, so I was going to take a little break to respond to that, so I didn't forget. But we do have questions about your live stream. So let me see.
Awesome.
Let me go back, because they were.
Love questions.
I know. Well, and it's cool here. We also have the ability to save questions here, so that's cool. So we have a bunch of questions about live streaming for nonprofits specifically, not necessarily for 24 hours, but we have a question here from, oh, I guess that came up. Oh, yes. Curious about running your live. Oh, this is another function, our little ticker function. So we get to play with all the toys when we go live.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. I'm gonna turn that off. Maybe I accidentally turned it on. I'm not gonna. Okay. So there was a question here about. Well, I'll put this question up and then I'll find the other one. Said, would you explain the benefit of a 24-hour live stream? I just wonder rather rather than how. So okay. So this
Yes.
is like the benefit of a 24-hour live stream as opposed to just one that's like this show is we have it scheduled for an hour, it's on, we replay it, or we repurpose it for different things. But what is the why behind doing a 24-hour live stream?
Yes. So I would say there's two reasons. One is the awareness factor, because when you put out there that you're going to do a 24-hour live stream, that's going to generate a lot of awareness. People are going to be like, whoa, 24 hours, right? So it's the wow factor, and it's going to generate more media attention. And then the other is just you are probably going to generate more fundraising dollars because it's out there more. And we'll talk more of the details of how we went about doing this. But I would say the wow factor, and then in terms of monetary dollars as well.
Right, because you just keep it going, and we will go into the detail of like the how you did it. And this one was
Exactly.
from Shannon, and she asks, "What would be a good time frame to stream for a small nonprofit?"
In 24 hours, of course.
Of course,
Of course, 24
yes.
hours. But if you we did this all with a volunteer team. We had absolutely no budget. We didn't spend a single dollar. All of our live streamers just used their software, their time, their talents, their energies. So it's definitely possible for a small nonprofit to do. We also, the following month, we did a 12-hour live stream. We didn't raise quite as much money, but we had already been pushing this, during the month of March. So I wasn't shocked that we didn't raise quite as much money, the second time. So you might want to maybe start with a 12-hour live stream,
Mhm.
something at a smaller level.
How long? So for your perspectives on cancer, and then your Tim and Jim show, how long do you usually aim for those live streams to be?
The Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer show is typically an hour long,
Mhm.
and the Tim and Jim show is typically 30 minutes. Sometimes we go 45 minutes, something like that.
It's hard when you have got a really good guest too to just stop talking to each other.
Yeah, and the other day on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, I brought on a surprise guest for our guest, so we went over a bit.
Yeah.
But typically an hour and somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes.
That's cool. I was gonna bring up this comment too from Adrian McKay. He says that his church did a 24-hour prayer session that was live streamed, so he can see the benefit of that wow factor and getting people to participate. So that's another cool, really,
Oh,
really
that's
good
awesome,
use case
Adrian.
for live streaming for sure. So
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Adrian.
yes, I love that. We've got a lot of great comments and questions here, so please keep them coming. Yes, I'm here to interview Tim, but we are here for you as well, audience. So
Absolutely.
please, drop your questions in and we will try to bring it up. So being at Restream, of course, we're aware of gamers who stream for 24 hours, music channels that live stream for 24/7, and then nonprofit charity streams, of course. How do you make your charity stream stand out and capture people's hearts and wallets?
Yes, yes. So for our event, for the 24-hour event, we had a number of different components in terms of content. So we had live conversations with cancer survivors and supporters. We had recorded video of conversations that we host on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, the weekly live stream show that I host. And we also had some musicians and entertainers that showed up in some portions of the 24 hours. And there was also a raffle in the final hour of the 24 hours. So businesses and individuals donated products and services like uh, photographs and books and many other different products and services. So some of the most capturing moments, I would say, there were two conversations that happened during those 24 hours. I held conversations, special shows of showing up perspectives on cancer there's a boy and girl of the year who are cancer survivors that are highlighted by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And I had conversations with the mom of the girl of the year. Her name's McCoy, and the parents of the boy of the year. His name's Grayson. And it was the first time that the parents had shared Grayson's story publicly on a show like Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. And so those conversations were very vulnerable and open and honest. And so those kind of conversations, where they really hit the heartstrings, those are some moments that I think really stand out and really, make the moments in those kind of events.
Absolutely. No, that is a good part of it, is capturing the stories and that truth and building the
Yeah.
trust. And it is and it's real time. Like, you're seeing the real things happening, the real emotions, the real conversations. In my case, like, if we mess up, we mess up, like, if we have a really great touch point, it can go that way. And then the audience gets to participate as well in these, as one of our Facebook users just mentioned, big moments. And it is about those capturing those big moments. So your 24-hour stream, Tim, brought back
Yeah.
memories of
Oh, yeah?
PBS telethons and fundraisers.
Oh
Remember
my
those
goodness.
from back in the day? And like, those were really, really big events. And that's not just because there were only 4 TV stations at the time and you just watch what was on. I know it was a different time, but obviously
That
live
was
video has taken off over the last few years, and thanks to innovations and technologies, and there's a lot of creative uses for it. So how has the marathon broadcast format evolved in those years? Because I see a lot of similarities, but like, there's a lot of cool things that we can do now that we've never been able to do before.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing that's really cool is that in this live streaming format, we can be interactive, right? We can bring the comments on the screen. We can it's just so much more interactive, which I just said. Um and it's really a whole different medium than on TV. And like I was saying before, we could really mix up the the different forms of content that we had, which you could still do before. But I just I just feel like with live streaming, it's just more interactive, which I keep saying. Did I say that yet?
You did say that a lot. It is interactive, but I would also just touch on, like,
Yeah.
it's personal, right? Because you're streaming into
Yes.
people's homes, you're streaming into people's environments. It's
Yeah.
less, I mean, I know that those big, television productions that we grew up with were very highly produced in a studio. You had your phone bank behind you. And for your stream, it was a lot of people, I mean, honestly, looking like they were sitting around a kitchen table, like just talking to you. Some of them had like amazing lighting, and some of them like just had your at home lighting, your at home situation, and that just makes it more personal, close. They're telling you those big moments that touched viewers and really brought the point home, is what one of our commenters just said. That's a good way of putting it. But
I like that.
so, Tim, we have teased it enough, but we're going to jump right in. How did you pull off a 24-hour live stream? Particularly, how did you maintain a healthy and engaging broadcast for that long? And I definitely want to ask you about your run of show and what that must have looked like for this whole situation.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes. So we had 14 live streamers from Alaska to the United Kingdom to everywhere in between. And that was really helpful in terms of over those 24 hours, right? Everybody's in a different time zone, or many people were in different time zones. So in terms of having live streamers, at a decent hour of their time, that really helped. And so, and in terms of the keeping having a healthy and engaging broadcast for that long, really having that mix of content with live content and recorded content and musicians and entertainers. And I think also having the incentive of the raffle. Almost everyone who donated won something.
Mm.
Almost everyone. So I think having that incentive really helped bring donations in for sure. Yeah. And
And
yeah,
kept people engaged, right? Because you want you.
definitely. And during each of the live streams, the live stream hosts talked about, I gave them a list of many of the different areas that the money is specifically going to, right? Because when you donate to an organization, you want to know, where is that money going to? And in this case, the money is specifically staying here in Northeast Pennsylvania and helping out patients and survivors here in Northeast Pennsylvania towards different areas. So, um, so that was one thing that's one thing that I would say is really important when you're a nonprofit, and if you're holding an event like this, is you want to be able to mention specifically where the money is going to.
No,
That's just one thing you want to mention. Yeah.
No, absolutely. That is key to so that people know what they're giving to and why this matters, right? Why is this important? I want to ask, what when you're doing these giveaways, was there any a mechanism or tool or program that you use to pick winners? Because I know that your co-host on the Tim and Jim show, Jim, he has the thing we call the wheel of wheel of death or the wheel of wonder. I forgot what
Yeah.
name we landed on for it, but it's that like wheel that he does on his Amazon show.
Oh,
Yeah. Did you have anything like that to pick winners, or how did that work out?
we didn't. I'm trying to remember how we picked exactly, but I don't believe we used a tool like that. I think it was more kind of
Organic.
random. Yeah, more organic for sure.
Perfect. And we've got a great question here from Nancy Hill. Let me see if
Oh,
I'll
Nancy Lewis Hill.
Nancy Lewis Hill, who we are a big fan of Nancy Lewis Hill as well, both of us here.
Yes.
So she wants to
Absolutely.
know, which is such a great question, what was the biggest challenge in running a 24-hour event besides having to use the bathroom? What was the second biggest challenge? Tim? Second biggest challenge.
Yes. First of all, shout out to Nancy Lewis Hill. She's a wonderful friend of mine, and she also helped out with the 12-hour Open Your Hearts and Wallets event. So thank you, Nancy Lewis Hill. The biggest challenge, I would say, is coordinating everything. That was really my task, was to coordinate all of this. 14 live streamers, 20 runs of shows, you know, and so I would say that was the biggest challenge. And it wasn't, it was just a lot of work. It was an honor to do it, to be honest, and this is all of such a labor of love. But I would say that would just be the biggest challenge, is coordinating everything. And we really just did it in a few weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she has got a follow-up question for us here. So she wants to know, did you have a staff or crew to gather sponsors or participants, or was it just you gathering those prizes and those giveaways and the other sponsors for this event?
So I had a volunteer team helping me. So I definitely had other people helping behind the scenes. Yes. And I also see Brian Shulman is here. Him and Nancy Barrows were helping out, as well as live streaming volunteers with
he had
both
this to
Open
say,
Your Hearts and Wallets.
Tim Sohn.
Yes.
That's what he had to say about that. Tim Sohn, and 4 exclamation points. Wow. Awesome.
Thanks for being here, Brian Shulman, and everyone.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is we're getting such great questions from the audience. I shouldn't have even written a run of show for this whole thing, right?
Yeah, you didn't need to.
I really didn't need to. Take a lesson, less preparation. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Then there would be no questions.
Then there would be no questions, right? Okay. So Amanda has this to ask, says, how do you go about promoting a 24-hour show with different time zones? That's a good question.
Yeah. So if there's one thing that I wish we could have done better, it was promoting the event better.
Uh-huh.
But one thing that was really helpful is that we had 14 live streamers. Mm-hmm. So what we did do was, I had all 14 live streamers schedule out their events 1 week ahead of time. Okay. So all of their events were scheduled out. And then I did create posts ahead of time to promote, and I tagged everyone, and people shared them and engaged with them and things like that. But that's one thing that I know we could have done better, was the promotion aspect.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you
yeah.
do anything to incentivize people watching, or people interested in it, or people that said they're interested in sharing the event themselves? Like, did you do anything to encourage sharing?
Yeah, we definitely asked people to share. Yeah.
Mhm. Perfect.
Great
So
idea.
I want to know, what is your biggest takeaway or and shock? What was your shock? Was there anything that really you went through this and you're just like so surprised about something that you learned, or some insight from this experience?
My biggest shock.
Biggest takeaway, even, yeah. Like, what's something that like really was just like, it just really surprised and delighted you?
I don't know if it was a surprise, but just it was just so many people came together, and um like they didn't even have to think about offering to help, or if I asked them to help. Like, so many heart-centered people, especially on LinkedIn, that I've known, especially like so many people that I never knew before the pandemic, that I know because of the pandemic, that I probably would have never ever met, that helped out with this event, from Alaska to the United Kingdom and everywhere in between, that all volunteered their time and hearts and talents and energies for this incredible event. And none of that surprises me, because all of these people are incredible.
Right, right, absolutely. No,
Um,
it is
yeah,
touching, though, to get that much support, right? Because we
yeah,
are very, I know you have your own company. I work from home. I work remotely for Restream, and sometimes it can get very isolating. You just wonder, like, is anyone out there? Like, they are, but then when they show up
yeah,
for you in this way, it's really
yeah,
touching. So that's amazing. So what would you okay, so we talked about the promotion. You wish you'd promoted it more. And honestly, like, it's hard to gauge, especially with advertising and promotion, like, how much did you do? Like, what
yeah.
so it's hard to balance that. So definitely that is a valid takeaway. But is there anything else that you think, oh man, next time I do this, I'm gonna make sure I do X, Y, and Z? Is there anything else that you think, next time you do this, I'm gonna do that better, or even better than before?
Um, Not really. I think the promotion is really the only piece that where we really fell short. The rest of the event, yeah,
So Amanda asks this. I'm gonna bring up her comment here. She asks this: how would you promote it differently?
that's a really good question. Yeah. I would try to get on more. I did go on some other people's shows. I would have tried to go on more shows of other people. Um, and shout out to Amanda for being here. Amanda is a candidate for Man and Woman of the Year
Oh
in New
wow.
Jersey. So thank you for being here. I just talked to her the other day. So appreciate you being here. Um, yeah. And I just would have tried to, I'll have to think about that more. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do a follow-up on that, because the next time
Yes.
you do a 24-hour live stream, we'll talk about promoting it more. Maybe we'll have you on before the live stream, and then we can help promote it that way.
Ooh,
She
there you
asks another
go.
question, which I think is a big part of having a 24-hour live stream, is, did you have to translate any part of the event? Did you have to
Ooh.
do that at all?
We didn't do that, but that's a great point. That's something when I do another live stream event, that's something to seriously consider.
Yeah.
I love that point. Thanks for bringing that up, Amanda. That's a really, really great point.
Absolutely. So everyone says they're here to support Tim.
I love
Absolutely.
you
They
guys.
even
You're
showed up to this.
amazing.
They even showed up to this stream to support you. So that is an amazing community.
Absolutely.
Oh, Nancy
Thank
did
you, Alan.
mention that she's glad you didn't have her sing. I don't know about that.
Next
I,
time. Next time,
next
Nancy.
next time. So you don't even have to do it live. You can pre-record it, because as Tim mentioned, he did a mix of pre-recorded and live content. And I thought, looking through your stream, you mixed it really well. But tell me, do you think one made a better impact than the other? How did you know how to balance the two of pre-recorded and live video?
Well, to be honest, the way that it ended up working was that when we couldn't get somebody live, that's when we used recorded videos. So that's just how it worked. And when we looked at when we received donations, honestly, they were pretty even across all the hours, across the 24 hours.
Hmm.
So we didn't see an effect, to be honest.
Was there a peak time for donations, you think? Because I know you're in Pennsylvania, so you're East Coast. Was there a peak time uh, for your time zone that you're like, oh, this was a really great time, and so next time you'll just target that time, or for your promotion, maybe?
There wasn't a peak time. There wasn't a peak time, but I will say that there were still donations coming in the next 2 days. So there is
Wow.
kind of a lag because people will see the replay still for, over the next few days. And then something afterwards that I did as well was I took that live stream file and I ran it as a Premiere later.
Wow.
So I saw a peak in donations after that as well.
So, two things I'm hearing here is one, the power of the replay, because not everyone can watch it live. Even if you are recording for 24 hours straight, there's still some people who you're going to miss. Imagine that. And then two, just I like that you repurposed the content and was able to continue to make most of that content that you spent all that time creating and that people collaborated on. So, I'm curious. So,
Yeah.
for this competition, what were some of the other entries that the people? What other fundraising things did they do? Like, did they all do a 24-hour live stream, or did they
No.
do other things?
No, I believe we were the only 24-hour live stream. Uh, some people did in-person events. Um, a lot of people and a lot of people did personal asks, whether it's by phone or direct messages or email, um, things like that. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society sends out challenges almost every week, especially toward the end of the campaign. So they'll do something like uh, the person who gets one donation from at least every single state by a certain date, they'll add $500 to your campaign or something like that. Um, so they have a variety of different ways, but this 24-hour live stream fundraiser is definitely not the norm.
What I'm hearing you say is that it is still a way to stand out and be unique. So,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
rush and get on it. Other people working for charitable events. So I have another question here, a comment here actually from Amanda. She asks, "Were there any de- technical difficulties that you had to take into consideration?"
Any technical difficulties? Um, I mean, we each had our own live stream setup, each live stream host, and none of us had our own producers. So we would have each had to have our own. This is something to think about for nonprofit organizations or anybody doing a live stream is having some kind of backup arrangement. But
Mhm.
we were a pretty, uh, I don't know what the word is, but pretty bare bones operation. So yeah, I mean that is something important to think about. Um, what is your what is the live streaming software you're using? What is your Wi-Fi? Your what is your setup? And
Mhm.
what happens if your internet goes down? Uh, do you have maybe you should have a backup producer,
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
especially if it's for a larger organization, something like that.
So did you have to coordinate video and audio checks with everyone that you had on the show? Was there like as you're running up and did you have to do tech setups with each person that you had on?
Uh, I just did that for my own. The other hosts did their own, all those things. Yeah.
And Nancy had this to ask too. She says, was it difficult getting committed volunteers? Did any of them come to you with a raised hand, or did you have to seek people out that, because like, I think there's a lot of people that want to volunteer and want to help out. Of course, it's an amazing cause, but that live video aspect is a little bit of that, like, little bit of a leap, like, so did you get a lot of people clamoring to, like, oh, I want to be live, or was there a little hesitation and you had to do a little encouragement, or how did that work out for you?
There was no hesitation at all. I have such a loving community that shows up and that I show up for. And did any of them come to you with raised hand, or did you have to seek them out? How did it work? I don't even remember how it worked. I just I don't even. Nancy Lewis Hill, did I ask you? Brian Tillman, did I ask you? I don't even remember.
Yeah, she
I
says
just
that's
love you
exactly what
all.
I was asking. So she was asking more, I guess she was asking about that, like, getting people to show up live, because that is, I mean, there are a lot of people I know that are incredible at everything that they do, whatever they do. But when you say, "Hey, get in front of a camera," they're just like, "I don't know," right? But I
Yeah.
guess it's because you make it look so easy, Tim, and so flawless
Oh,
and smooth, and so
oh, thank
people, like, felt no fear. Or you could do it like me and just be afraid and do it anyway. So,
you.
that's like, I could, so what if you can't pronounce philanthropic? Just go, keep
You are
going.
not the first. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
all right. So you are the founder of So and Social Media Solutions, and you're a live video strategist and a producer for businesses and organizations and entrepreneurs. By the way, looking to make that positive impact in the world. Very noble cause. But in your experience and in your work with your agency here, how are nonprofits using live video as part of their strategies? Maybe not necessarily a 24-hour live stream, but what other opportunities are out there for using live video in this really great way to just to connect with people in real time in their other endeavors, their other efforts that they're doing to raise money for their nonprofits.
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I would say it all comes down to one word, and that's storytelling. Nonprofits do such important work. They make such an impact in the world, and so many of them aren't telling their story, or they're telling their story, but live stream video just makes so much more of an impact. So by having conversations with uh, their whoever they're impacting, whoever their members are, or whoever they're um, donating money to or for, or whatever the situation is, by sharing those stories on live stream videos, by going on location if they can, given the situation in the world, you know um, that is going to be so beneficial, and in so many different ways, because they're going to reach more people on social media, and then they're going to be able to use that. They might be able to use that if they're trying to get a grant, uh, and just in so many different ways. So I would say that the big thing is figuring out a way to use live streaming to really bring to life uh, the story of the nonprofit, but also the story of who they're impacting, and bringing that to life.
Absolutely. I'm going to throw you an audible. I did not send this question to Tim beforehand, so I'm sorry, but I think you can handle it.
Okay, bring it on.
Okay, so you mentioned that a lot of nonprofits are using live video to, uh, as part of their strategy to drive impact. What are some nonprofits that you think are using live video really well?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Um,
You can shout out to your own clients. It's all right.
oh, nonprofits that are my own clients that are
Yeah.
using. Um, okay, so one of my clients is the Milford Readers and Writers Festival. They actually have their festivals coming up in September,
Okay.
and they're actually bringing their event back to life in real life in September. and we had to take their event virtual during the pandemic, and that actually worked really well because their event was local. It's the Milford Readers and Writers Festival here in
Yeah.
Northeast Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
right? But we were able to take their audience became global during the pandemic, but it will be local again. So that's one example of of a nonprofit that's definitely making impact.
So I know that, like, we're in year 3 of being in this pandemic, and people's comfort levels they're all over the place for with very different reasons for different people. When you say about this event coming back live and in person, are there other events like this that are that are in person, that are still maintaining this like live video virtual aspect to continue to capture people that may not be able to come out and you know gather, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely still people that are um, either they're not comfortable traveling yet, or depending where they are in the world. So definitely, it's definitely still. I think the hybrid world is going to continue for the foreseeable future. So live streaming is still going to be very important in that aspect.
I hope so. It hits so many accessibility points,
Yes.
for people that just either can't go, or just, and even the way that people take in information. So, as
Yeah.
your experience as a live video producer and strategist, now, and you don't need to throw anyone under the bus. Certainly, don't name names. But are there any like mistakes or hurdles you think live streamers do that prevent them from being like at least successful? And successful, of course, being a relative term, right? Like success in their own minds, or losing that momentum. Like, is there something that live streamers do that you think that, or people that that live stream that do that, they're just like they do it for a while and then they're just like, I don't know. So
Yeah, I think there's a few things. I think one is they they don't have a set schedule for their shows. And I've been doing this for years. I do shows the weeks of holidays, and I just keep going and going and going and going. So you burn out. And um even like with the showing up perspectives on cancer show, that's a very it's it it's a serious subject. It can be all the emotions over the hour of the show, right? But it's just an emotionally draining issue sometimes. So there were 3 weeks recently where I just I didn't do the show. So I think it's important to have a calendar for your show and set weeks. Maybe it's the week of Christmas and New Year's, or maybe you want to take a vacation in the summer from your show, right? I think it's important that you build in self-care into your live streaming schedule, because live streaming shows can take a lot of work, you know. Um so I think that's one thing, is live streamers many times don't take care of themselves.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. Well, it's about gauging your own energy. Like you're talking about, perspectives on cancer. That is a very emotional. It is a very, it is, I don't want to say drain. That makes it sound bad, but there's another word. It's just like it takes so much from you, or for good reason, right? It's a very sensitive topic, and you're dealing with people's lives, and so yeah, it's that's good advice to just know your own energy level and to know like, okay, I gotta take this time to do it. So, no,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, Nancy says, "Don't call me out." No, we're not going to call you out.
Did I call you out for something?
No, because I said you don't have to. I was talking about like live streaming mistakes, and she said, "Don't call me out."
Uh,
No, no one.
you're
We're not
funny,
calling
Nancy.
anyone out. None of our friends. We're calling no one out. So that's good. That's really good advice. But we talked a little bit about this a little bit earlier. You've been sharing this as we've gone along today. But what kind of preparation did you do leading up to this 24-hour live stream? Like research, planning, scheduling. What was involved when it came to hosting this event?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, so I wrote 20 runs of shows I wrote the run of shows for each segment of the 24 hours because I wanted there to be consistency. So I wrote the script for each. And then I met with whichever show hosts could meet before the 24 hours to go over it. One person on the team created all the branding for the event. They created the background for the event. They created the template for the graphic when you schedule out the show. And then, like I said before, the host scheduled out the live streams 1 week ahead. So I asked them to do that. A volunteer team helped plan how this was going to all work ahead of time. The day of the event, me and some other people from the live team were engaging in the comments and things like that. So that's a glimpse.
Oh my God. How long did it take you, like, from that, like, initial, like, oh, I should do this, to, oh my gosh, it's over? like, what was that time period? What did that time period look like?
I don't even know. I don't know. I don't want to know. No.
But yes, but the meat of the preparation, like, there was a time when you're like, okay, a month before, was it 2 months before, that you're like, you started writing these 20 runs of shows, which, by the way, I'm with our friend Nancy Lewis Hill here. Oh my gosh, 20 runs of show. Okay. That was her emoji, everyone watching in the comments. That was her emoji, okay? It's in there.
Yeah, it was a lot of prep work, but I wanted to make sure there was consistency among all the shows, and I wanted it to go as flawlessly as a live stream could go. So it was all totally worth it.
Yeah. Now, and you talked a little bit about, like, the promoting of the event, the days leading up, when you were getting in the comments and talking to people and responding. But was there anything you did immediately after your stream to keep the momentum going? I know that you said that the replays remained up, and then you repurposed some of it, and so you continued to get residual donations after that, after the stream. But there's anything that you intentionally or plan to do immediately following the stream to say, I don't know, build a mailing list or continue to nurture this community where the organization could maintain the support?
Yeah. So one thing that I did was I went in and responded to comments.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, how many comments were there? Like 1,000? 1,000?
A lot.
Like 1,000 per hour? Oh,
and one other thing that I did, and I debated doing this, but I direct messaged all the people who commented who did not donate. And I sent them a very kind message, thanking them for showing up and reminding them, I can't remember the exact wording I did, but encouraging them to comment, or not to comment, to donate.
Donate, yeah.
And some people did donate as a result of that. And some of them actually said, oh, thank you for messaging me. I couldn't find the link or something like that. So, and I'm someone who, before this event and this campaign, I do not like to ask people for anything, let alone money.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So but I don't know. I said you're the same way as me, but, like, you don't want to ask it for yourself.
Yeah.
But you'll do it for anyone else, right? So
exactly,
you do it for someone else. So I think that there's an incentive there too. I don't know. There's some term for that. There's some term where, like, you can't do it for yourself, but you'll do it for everyone else. I don't know. Maybe it's live streamer. Maybe that's what it is. Live stream producer and strategist. That's that's the clinical term for us.
There you go.
There you go. So no, but I think that's a good follow-up, because even when we do, like, a webinar or anything here at Restream, like, we do a follow-up email of, like, hey, thanks for being here. Here's a little reminder. Here's a link. You do your call to action. So I think that's very, very good. So have any of them, like, continued to, like, show up in other, like, have you noticed that people that discovered you through this 24-hour live stream have now showing up in other places, like your other shows?
Yeah, people from that event have definitely showing up Perspectives on Cancer.
Many of them
become
have
part of
showed
that
up in this
community.
stream. We're just talking
Yes.
about live streaming. So that is an incredible community. So Tim, you have been so generous, of course, with your time
Aw,
and your expertise. And it has been such an honor to have you on the show. So Tim is someone that I've known for a very long time, but we've never really like done something like this before. And when you reached out and told us about your stream, which was amazing, and I appreciate you doing that. Because then I was able to interview you. It's like really the first time that you and I've gotten to like hang out. So, but it's definitely not going to be the last and we're
thank
all
you.
like have the same friends. It's like,
We do.
so
Yeah.
like we've known each other, but we haven't known each other, which is such a weird thing about social media, isn't it? Where it's just like, so much about people, but then you're like, I guess we've never actually met.
Yes. Yes, it's so funny. Yes. Thank you
But
for
I have,
having me.
oh no, I appreciate it. But I have one final question for you. So all of this
Yes.
stuff aside, everything we just talked about, the preparation, the anxiety, the putting the 20 runs of shows, would you do another 24-hour live stream event like this again? And when is it? And when can we tune in?
Bring it on. I don't know when it is, but I'm ready. Let's go.
So as a result of this, has anyone else come to you and been like, I'd really like your help with my own 24-hour live stream? Is that something you'd be open to?
Nobody has yet, but I would love to work with anybody who'd like to do something like that. So definitely get in touch.
Nancy has one question. She says, were there any anonymous donors? That's a good question because it's all
Yeah.
on social and you have to share your face and everything. And I don't know. I'm someone
Mhm.
that likes to donate anonymously, by the way. Like I don't,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm like, even at church, I'm always like, I never like put it in the envelope. I just put it in the basket directly because I'm just like, I just don't want anyone to like look at me. I'm just kidding. I just was like, just like to. So were there any anonymous donors for your event?
There were a few.
Yeah.
Not many, but there were a few anonymous donors. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tim. Before we let you go, please
Thank you.
tell the audience listening or watching right now and then watching our replay where they can find out more about you and of course your company and how they can get in touch with you about having you run their 24-hour live streams.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could connect with me on LinkedIn. You could just search for Tim Sohn, Timsohn, just right down there, like that banner says. Uh, my email is tim at sohn, SOHN, socialmediasolutions.com. Those are really the best ways to get in touch with me. And yeah, if you want to have a 24-hour live stream or any size live stream, really, just get in touch with me and I'd love to have a chat with you.
Yes, he does normal sized live streams too, by the
I
way. So
do. I
like we
do.
we talked a lot about this 24-hour live stream, but he does do like normal, fun sized, you know, streams.
Yes. But 24-hour ones can be fun also.
Yeah. When is your tell the audience when you do your Tim and Jim show and then when you do your showing up perspectives on cancer shows. When do you do
Sure.
those?
So the Tim and Jim show is on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. Showing up perspectives on cancer is at 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock. No, showing up perspectives on cancer is at 8 o'clock at night Eastern time, but it's going to be changing starting in August 2022 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time.
Okay. All right. Good note. I'm proud of you. I time zones throw me off.
Thank you.
And every time someone asks when my shows are, I'm just like, I don't know. They're just, I don't know. I don't know. Check YouTube. I don't know. Tim, you have been a fantastic guest today. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, live audience, for joining us. And thank you to our replay audience for catching us on the flip side. So I have been Grace Duffy from Restream, and this is a Creator Spotlight with Restream. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.